Hey folks, hope you're doing good today. Now we're putting this stuff out the free queue for this week so far, and what I've done today is because we checked out some new hardcore yesterday, which I absolutely loved, just blew me away. I've been digging through my metalcore queue, my new metalcore queue today, and pulled out 3 super fresh bands. This is just the latest wave of metalcore. I'm calling it NuMetalcore because there are some nu metal influences in these bands, because these are the younger generation who've grown up with nu metal as a staple of metal, and it has, you can hear that it's got an influence on their riffs and guitar tones and drumming and things like that, and the vocals. So yeah, I'm calling it NuMetalcore. I'm not sure if that is actually a defined genre yet, but I think it is going to be going forward from this latest wave of metalcore, because it is different. It sounds dope, super heavy as well. The first band we're going to check out called Grievances. Their track is called Constrictor. Let's give these guys a spin. Super heavy, massive.
There will come a day when you stop believing. As the veil froze, you lose your meaning. Maybe you'll be the one to stop your breathing. Suffocating, unremitting. Give me the illusion, running out and back. Constrictor, it's a rebellion. Look at it, you'll see of the way it is.
Yeah.
The edge of the knife, but it cuts both ways as an enemy is. Suffocating, unremitting. Give me the illusion, running out and back. Constrictor, it's a rebellion. Look at it, you'll see of the way it is.
Sick.
I have got your kind, I lifted alright. I haven't crossed the line and claim my life.
Hit that bass with a real grind in this one.
Buried in the soul that makes you right. The way you went from ready alive. Crying out as the pressure builds. Chasing never fucking enough. The rest of us will bury you deeper. It's understood that you're coming undone. You won't live to see another. You won't live to see another day. Hope you pay for it right. I hope you pay for it. The time that you fade away.
Heavy.
Suffocating, unremitting. Give me the illusion, running out and back. Constrictor, it's a rebellion. Look at it, you'll see of the way it is.
These fresh bands absolutely kill it.
Be the one to stop your breathing. Not just night, that behind cross the line.
Holy shit. That was an experience, man. Jesus, I want to check where these guys are from, see if it tells me, because a lot of these bands seem to be coming out of the UK. Doesn't seem to say. But man, That was absolutely superb. These fresh bands, these modern bands and the younger generations who are making metal now, there was a period there, kind of 2015-ish, where metalcore for me got real stale, and they started moving into all that melodic metalcore and stuff like that. But all the tracks just seem to have the same format, the same kind of riffs, breaking into the chorus in the same way. There's a good period there for kind of 4 or 5 years where metalcore really didn't do a lot for me because it just wasn't doing anything new. It wasn't going anywhere. The last couple of years, this fresh wave of new metalcore is absolutely killing it and coming through with a freshness that you just haven't heard before. In the riffs, in the sound, but also within the mix, they've just absolutely cranked everything up. Got the heaviest sound you've ever heard. Some of the slamming sounds in there were just as heavy and as slamming as it could possibly go. It sounds like a bomb going off, you know. It's amazing. It's a really sick experience to listen to this kind of music as well, because the energy is just coming at you full force the whole time. They do break out into some more atmospheric areas, which I like as well. It's diverse, but for the most part, it's just pummeling heavy in your face, slapping you around the ears with the sound. Absolutely love it. It's like an experience to listen to this stuff really loud with headphones. Love it. But man, these fresh bands and this fresh generation, you might have thought, man, they've run out of riffs and there's nothing kind of fresh going on in metal anymore. But these bands are proving that wrong. There's dope riffs, kind of genty, balmy. Because of the guitar tones nowadays, they can just use a single string and it still sound like boom, a massive sound. And because of that, there's different riffs available to you. You haven't always got to be playing power chords and thick chords. You can just be bouming about on one string, almost like a bass player, and doing bends and stuff, and it will still fill out the sound because your tone is just so massive. The drummer was absolutely sick in this band. He did loads of cool, sexy frill bits, stuff on the toms and stuff on the cymbals, accenting the riffs, filling in the breaks, to just be really interesting and cool. Super sick. I really like the video for that one as well. Just everyone going off in the video and a visual that suits the sound as well. Sick. Grievances, we'll be checking you out again because I was very impressed with that one. Very nice. The next band is called Chaos.sequence. The track is called Fault Index, and this is featuring Aaron Matz of 1056. We've had 1056 on the channel before. Let's give it a spin. Nice slappy kick in this one. A nice atmospheric edge to these bands as well, though. There's always some high-pitched wailing summit going on as well. Discussion and fights as I'm twisting the knife. You're not to blame, 'cause I'm one and the same. If you try, you will die. it's just one string. Yeah. Cool. Sick, man. I love what these guys do as well with all the kind of modern mixing stuff and adding in electronic edges and stuff to this music. It's just super dope. You know, it's stuff you haven't heard before. And for me, that really pricks my ears up because I'm looking for stuff I haven't really heard before. And I think these fresh bands are bringing something fresh to the table. It's not just a regurgitation of something that's come before with a little bit different to it. It's totally new and fresh. Man, it just iterated again with these guys particularly, how once you've got a massive guitar tone that you can get nowadays with these digital tones and stuff, you could just have one string on your guitar pretty much, and you'd still sound as thick and actually more heavy than all those 2000s bands who were, you know, playing thick, chunky guitar chords and stuff like that, because the tones nowadays are just ridiculous. Sick! Now, we've checked out these guys before, and I wanted to put them in again because we haven't seen them for a while, and they're super dope. This is Seeker. The track is called Face to Face. Let's give it a spin.
These four walls surrounding me, closing all the stress. Just another lonely soul embracing the empty. Just another lonely soul embracing the emptiness. Fuck, embracing the emptiness. Yes, you're so fantasy, you don't make the level of it. Don't be the demon, but the same in a broken case. We could have a good sanctuary. Face to face with all the mistakes and mistakes done. Take my day as well as ways. One last chance to stay my sanity. You're running out of time, there's nothing left for me. Away out of this cage, just say my name. Just say my name. Say my name. This is the reason my demons are spreading tonight. Yeah, one last chance to save my sanity.
There's a great bounce and energy in these guys.
Face to face with the mistakes I've been falling under. I can't seem to find myself. Day by day, this feeling oscillates. Loving my life, nowhere to go.
Drummers are nice in these bands as well. They're doing cool shit.
Give me a reason, tell me a lie. Give me a reason to never give up and it's fine. Tell me a lie. Give me a reason to never give up and it's fine. Whoa. Just another wrongs on wrong. Take it all.
Heavy.
Face to face with the mistakes that are haunting me.
So you get those new metal elements coming into these bands as well.
Face to face with the mistakes that I made.
Yeah. Sick. Sick. Bit of a Korn influence in there. That's what I say. You can tell that these bands have grown up listening to nu metal as a part of metal. You know, when I was growing up, nu metal was a brand new thing, and it was just being introduced into the metal scene, and we were all just getting on board with it in a fresh way. So it didn't really have a lot of chance to influence kind of within the framework of what metal is, the bands that we were making at the time. But these guys nowadays, kind of 20 years down the line, they've had nu metal always within their lives once they've been listening to metal. And it's kind of been a staple part of the metal scene. So it's not a freshness, and it's kind of, you know, it's set its stall within the metal scene. And you can tell that it's influenced these guys in that way, the same way that kind of hardcore influenced our bands and things like that. So it's sick to hear it coming through. And I think it has brought a freshness to these bands because they think about metal in a different way to, you know, the way I did when I was 20, because we didn't have these influences ingrained in the scene just yet. So it's sick. I really, really enjoy it. You know, I might be 20 years older than these guys and kind of, you know, a bit dadcore as far as they're concerned, but I am so on board with this latest scene of metalcore or NuMetalcore, whatever you want to call it. I think it probably needs a new name for itself, gentcore or something, I don't know. But they're pulling on a whole bunch of different cool influences, but actually coming with freshness as well, new ideas, and stuff you haven't heard before. And it is because, you know, the modern tones have brought a different way of playing the guitar to the scene as well. It's not all just all about power chords anymore and chunkiness. You can do a lot of stuff on single string, and when you just drop it down to notes instead of chords, there's loads more different stuff you can do and bend the notes and things like that. So they're coming with a real freshness to this stuff. It's stuff you haven't heard before. It's not, as I say, it's not just like a regurgitation of something old. So I really love it. I think these bands are absolutely killing it. Fair play to the younger generation for, you know, thinking outside the box and coming to the table with something fresh as well. Because it does seem to be the case within other music genres that, you know, it's just a cyclical thing of, oh, you know, it's been 20 years since we've had kind of, you know, post-punk. So we'll bring that back round now and things like that. So I like to hear something really fresh and new from the younger generations to show that, you know, they've not run out of ideas. They're not just kind of harking back to the past and getting nostalgic. They're pushing forward with new and fresh stuff and evolving the scene in a new way. Dope. Really, really love to see it. So there's 3 absolutely killer, super fresh bands to check out. And if you want to hear the latest stuff, this is it. You know, I think this is going to be the latest big thing going forward. And just absolutely blowing you away with the sound. Such a heavy sound. You know, these younger guys, as I say, at one point there where I thought, metalcore's going soft because everyone was singing and doing big melodic choruses and stuff. These guys have obviously said, sod that. We don't want all of that in our music. We just want to go heavy as hell and pummeling and absolutely slap the listener around the ears. They get the job done nicely. Very, very sick. So hope you've enjoyed that today, guys. That's what we've got for you today. If you want to get your band on the channel this week, we can still do that. Head over to the website, make a submission. If you've made it this far into the video, think about giving it a like. That'd be super dope. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow with some more cool bands. Have a good one. Cheers. Bye.